What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We're doing things a little differently tonight. As you can tell, there's only two of us here, but there's a reason. Tonight, me and Jolly Yellow, say hi.
Hey, folks.
We will be covering just stuff dealing with Animazement. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have Maverick, myself, and a special guest to discuss more of the newsworthy things that have been going on since we've been here last. So, since this is going to be a very Animazement-centric show, just recapping some of our stuff, we'll of course have Mav on to talk about his own experiences tomorrow if he wants to discuss them. But yeah, so Animazement was last weekend. For those of you who didn't know about it, let's see, it was my 13th.
You're a bit of a veteran then, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm up there. My first one was '03, and then I missed 2004, and I've been every year since 2005.
Okay.
So,
not bad, not bad. This has only been my third one. I've gone 2012, 2014, and this year 2016.
Okay, so you're taking the odd numbered years off. I see how it goes.
Yeah, that is the intention. Even though, from what I understand, next year is supposed to be AZ20, so just because of 20.
Yeah, to think that Animazement has been around for going on 20 years, and like I said, I've missed. Let's see, while I'm going next year, so at that point I'll be having just missed 6 of them. Yeah, that's not too bad, especially when I first found out about it through the Animerica pulp magazines,
Oh, wow.
I miss those things. Anyway, so Animazement was a blast, as usual. We got to see all sorts of people, got to see all of our friends, whole 9 yards. It was so much fun. Let's see, I'm trying to think exactly where we should start with this.
There was
Actually, I do know where to start. For those of you that are planning on going to a con, take advantage of pre-registration. Thursday night, pre-con. Pre-con! Now, this was Thursday before anything really was going on. There were a few assorted panels here and there, but nothing major. Thursday night, the pre-reg line was long, of course. The at-the-door reg was all the way around the RCC and then doubled back on itself.
It's just, yeah, you gotta.
They were done with the pre-reg line at, I'm wanting to say 8 o'clock. Like 8 p.m. they were, like, the pre-reg, there was no more line for pre-reg. They did not get through the at-the-door registrations until somewhere around 10 p.m. And that was with all hands on deck.
I did read about that, because apparently even when the pre-registration, however they're called, were finished doing registration, they literally just like, all right, come over here and start doing at-the-door registration, help us out. So it's like, that line kept going for another hour and a half with double the help.
Yes, yes. I was there watching it. Saya was in the at-the-door reg because she had forgotten the deadline and everything with school and all of that was going on. So, I mean, that's understandable. But if you if you can pre-register, it helps things out a lot.
Although I do think there's a bit to be said about at-the-door registration, as depending on how you time it. Because see, my wife and I, we went on Friday morning, and we got there about 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
At the door registration line, we may have been in line 20 minutes.
Yeah.
and badges marked and everything. So if you don't pre-register, pay attention to when you're going to arrive at the con. You might save yourself some trouble. Like if you're doing at the door, I would recommend doing like Friday morning, maybe Friday during the day. If you're coming in on Saturday, I highly recommend you pre-register because the at-the-door registration on Saturday gets crazy.
But little soapbox PSA out of the way there. I think Animazement actually did set a record this year. They had over 14,000 paid attendees.
So I did not know that was a record. I knew it was a high attendance value, but I thought for some reason like a past year pulled like 16,000. I thought.
No, they had. I'm wanting to say it was like 12,000 or something. Like last year when they kept running out of badges and whatever.
Okay, well then I was looking at another. Must have been another con. I was looking at it.
I'm not sure if it's a record, but if it's not, it's pretty close, and it also shows that Animazement is definitely growing on the con scene.
And 14,000, that's a good sized crowd. Even if it's not a record crowd, that's still a good sized crowd.
Yeah, that's a really good sized crowd. Like I do have to say that pretty much everywhere was pretty packed this year.
Packed. And unfortunately, with things being so packed, there were kind of a little pain, some pains that goes along with it. And please, slate against the Animazement staff. I think they did a great job. A lot of growth going on, a lot of growing pains. They tried to do some new things. Some things worked out great, some quite didn't. So first off, thank you AZ staff for all your hard work. You put on a great con. You did some good stuff. But
thank you AZ staff.
Of kinks, namely in the form of spaces for panels. There were a lot of situations where panels were assigned really small spaces and really small rooms, and that left a lot of people simply unable to go into the panel they wanted, despite waiting in line for an hour, hour and a half beforehand just to get to the door and be told you can't go in the room's at capacity.
Yeah, Jolly Yellow and I, if you couldn't tell, we've actually been following the Animazement feedback thread.
Yeah, if you're watching, you went to Animazement, go to Facebook, join the Animazement group. There's several feedback and comment threads there. Get in there, put your voice in. There's actually members of the staff in there paying attention and responding to commentary.
Yes, one in particular, Whitney Wolf, thank you for doing all that you do. Whitney is on the ball. And there are apparently some people who are wanting to cosplay as Whitney next year, which should be entertaining. But anyway, no, Animazement always.
You've arrived.
Exactly. That's when
you have arrived. When you're con staff and people want to cosplay you.
But no, they actually, like, Animazement this year actually used some of the conference rooms at the Marriott itself as panel rooms. And I was in one of those as a panelist because I served on the Undercover with Black Butler, Undercover with Kuro Shitsuji panel. I was on that panel, and those rooms were tiny. But to Animazement staff credit and everything, they were not entirely sure how small they were when they booked them. They just knew they needed a little extra space. So. No, like, from me, you're not going to get any sort of, anything like that. It's one of those, okay, you live, you learn, you move on, you learn, you go from there. I mean, you did what you could with what you had.
Yeah, let's look at the price side. Yeah, I say we look at the price side here. So large that they are now straining to try and figure out where to put everything now.
Yes.
That's a sign of, that's growth. That's a good thing. So let's not complain.
As usual, the dealer's room and artist alley wonderfully mapped out. So much space in there. It was wonderful. I like that they had the dividers at the very back of the halls opened up so you could freely pass through. So that was nice. They had a food. They actually had like a food court and food trucks and whatnot in the dealer's room, which that was really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Then there was a local Japanese restaurant that was setting up they had a kiosk set up inside the convention center. I think they were like right in front of the artist alley, if I'm not mistaken, like right outside the entrance. So
They did.
you know, get you out a little something extra rather than just the snacks and junk food you probably bring with you to a con.
Yes. So I mean, Animazement is doing wonderfully. They have grown so much since they've moved from the Sheridan in Durham. You know, the old days of everyone packed like sardines in the hallway and having to literally walk sideways through the hallway. Memories, man. But a lot of what I have seen on the feedback thing was what you were saying about, you know, panel rooms being far too small, and that, you know, I understand the whole thing of, you know, some of the space was taken up for disability, which that's fine. That's that you should do that. That's Con 101.
Yeah, make sure everybody can get in.
Speaking of disability, this was actually cool because this was the first time I had seen this. When I was actually on the Undercover with Crew panel, they had interpreters for the deaf off to the side that were actually signing our panel because one of the attendees was deaf. So that was really cool, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that there were a lot of things there in place. In fact, I even understand there was what it was called, was something to the effect of an anxiety space, a space where if you got a little overwhelmed.
They called it the Serenity Space.
Serenity Space, that's what it was called, yes. So there was something like that for people who might not do well in crowds, might get some anxiety or depression symptoms kicking in or something. You need to go cool off, you need to go settle down a little bit. There was actually a designated Serenity Space where you could go and kind of take a break, sit back and breathe easy. Also saw there was actually a small child care room.
Yes, I saw that as well.
Where you could actually bring in small children. There was some attendees there that actually have child care experience, if I'm not mistaken. So you could actually bring your kids in there, play, and so.
Yeah, they had people on staff who were experienced in child care that were working the kids' room, which I thought was a great addition. You don't see that very often, and you know, that was really something cool to see. But no, oddly enough, like, I really don't have any sort of actual like complaints about Animazement. I thought it was funny that the usual protesters only showed up for like a day.
Yeah, they barely had any presence there. And from my understanding, they, like you said, they weren't even there for a whole day. They weren't like the usual standing noticeable presence. It was like, oh, what, I missed them? Because I never even really barely saw them. I saw like one guy sitting on a corner by himself or something.
Yeah, that was like a different guy. I was talking about the usual protesters with big signs and everything.
Yeah. Maybe they're finally getting the lesson that people are not paying attention to them. I mean, that's how you come to it.
I think they finally got clued in that it's actually a Baptist group that helps run
it. That's some M. Night Shyamalan right there.
Yeah, seriously. But no, it was so much fun. I don't know if you actually made it into the arcade or not.
Get up there Saturday morning.
Oh my God, the setup that they had was fantastic.
Yes.
They had, oh my God, and it was actually really roomy. Like usually with con game rooms, it's really cramped. You know, it's hard to get around. No, they had this down set.
Whoever handled the game room knew what they were doing. Was it? There was.
I know.
Multiple.
I personally know a couple people on staff for the game room.
They knew what they were doing.
So they, yeah, they if I'm not mistaken, they own a pump machine, the DDR machine, and the initial D machine that were in there.
Yeah. Oh, nice, nice. See, I saw the initial D machine, but the line on it was too long, so I never got on it.
Yeah, I stuck around for that quite a few times because initial D.
Oh, yeah. I have memories of it too, but yeah, that line was just too long. I'm like, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they even had like some Rock Band and Just Dance, and of course, you got your 7 or 8 Smash games going on, and all the arcade cabinets were so nice. Even as
they still had the 8-man Bomberman going.
Yeah, on the big screen.
That has been a fixture ever since I have been at Animazement, and it will continue to be a fixture. Just because that's the only for some people that's the only time they will ever get to play Bomberman.
For me, it kind of is. I didn't get on it this year, but maybe hopefully next year I can take some time and get on there on it. But yeah, I mean, it was a wonderful game room. They even had some of those. I don't know if they're specifically Japanese cabinets, but with the fighting games where there's actually, you're sitting on one side playing and the other person is on the opposite side of the machine with their own screen and they're interacting. So I got to play some, I think it was Street Fighter 3 on one of those cabinets. And of course, there was one guy sitting there just running the machine. So
I can't really say much. I kind of did that with Guilty Gear at one time.
Not even mad.
To my credit, it wasn't, I wasn't doing, what I usually do on Guilty Gear because it was a build that I wasn't used to, but,
So yeah, the game room was definitely excellent. Many kudos to the people who were involved in that. If any cabinet owners who provided machines, any console owners who provided machines, or if you worked on the game room, thank you. That was a good job.
Yes. I heard from a lot of people that they really enjoyed the music band that was brought in this year. It was Oreska Punk.
Heard a lot of people.
Yeah, it was Oreska. Is what I think it's what it's called, but
I think it's Oreska.
Yeah, I know that they're like a punk ska band, and sometimes it's Oreska Punk, sometimes it's just Oreska. I wasn't quite sure, but from what I heard, they did wonderfully.
Yep. Good on them. Good. Hopefully they enjoy their time. I don't know if this is their first time in the States or anything, but hopefully they had a good show and they enjoyed themselves, and maybe they'll come back one day.
Yeah. I know a lot of people were, before the con were upset that Noise wasn't back, but honestly, it's one of those things of they've been here, 3-4 years now, that we kind of need someone new.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good. Yeah, it's good to have a regular solid act, but at the same time, you kind of want to mix it up, especially you want to change up the genre. And I'm pretty sure that Oreska is very different from Noise. So
yes, to say the least. Let's see.
Who knows? Maybe next year we'll get Baby Metal or somebody.
I don't think they could afford Baby Metal.
I don't know. They were at Carolina Rebellion earlier this month, or last month now.
Last month. And they're going to be at NXT next week.
Oh, cool.
So, a little bit of wrestling thrown in there.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, my con was awesome. Game room was definitely on point. We had a very nice turnout on our Anime Unit Business panel.
Yes, it was another huge turnout.
Yes,
oh my god, we actually had to have people keep raising their hands to let people at the back know, hey, there are free seats by these people. Yeah. Come fill in.
And then even on top of that, even still had people sitting down on the floor. That con staff had to come and we can't have you guys sitting on the floor like that. So we had an excellent turnout. And on top of that, still had people later on commenting, we couldn't get into Anime You May Have Missed because the room was full.
Yeah, I left my own comment in the feedback thread because this has been a continuing thing for the last 3 years that we have had standing room only at our panels. And it's one of those things of, look, we enjoy doing these panels. but I think we've kind of outgrown the normal panel room because, 3 straight years of doing this, we kind of need something a little bit bigger so people can, make it, because we, like you were saying, there were people that were posting saying, hey, I couldn't get in. Also, another side note, diverting back, Saya said that the rave actually was in the basement this year. It was right next to the dealer's room. So that was actually really cool.
So that would be why you couldn't really hear the music outside like you usually can.
Right. So they had it off and to the side, which was an interesting way of doing things, but I kind of like how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, and plus, on the outside the entrance front of the convention center, I know on Saturday night there was a DJ who set up and did his own thing right outside the convention center. So even if you didn't go back inside to the dance, you could still, chill and hang out, have some music and some dance circles going outside in the front. So, plenty of
even had that on
party.
Friday. They even had that on Friday, so it was plenty of, they had plenty of opportunities for it. But I mean, getting back to that, our panel again this year. Our Anime You May Have Missed panel was huge. It was fantastic. I'm going to apply for a longer time next year.
It would be nice if we could get like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what they'll give us. I'll be in touch with the panel guy. And see what I can work out, because we got pressed for time again, and we even cut things even more this time. So
really hate to get in a spot where we're dialing back the panel, starting to lose stuff there. I really don't want to get into that.
Yeah, I don't want to get to the point where we have to dial things back to the point where we just almost have, zero content almost, I want to keep about the same amount of content, but allow for, longer time to where we're not, stressed and like freaking out. But yeah, for those of you that were not at Animazement, again, if you've seen any of our old panel videos where, the camera pans back and it shows. Your mic's on, Jalila. But if you've seen any, it's all good. If you've seen any of our old panel videos where the camera would pan back, and you would see, the entire panel room and people, just standing along the back and everything. That's what it was again this year. We had it again this year, and there were people, already waiting for the panel. Like when I went in to start at, what was it? I think we were slated to start at 4 o'clock.
We were slated to start at 4, but the room was empty half hour before.
Yeah, they had emptied out the room. They had emptied out the room at 3:30 because the panel before that had just wrapped up. At 3:40, we already had half a room.
See, and I do recall that by the time the panel started at 4, we had to start with, okay, folks, there's people standing in the back. Raise your hand if there's a seat up near you so we can pack everybody in.
Yes. Let's see. I know you came in about 4:45, and we already had 3/4 of the room filled. So it was insane. Like by the time that I had gotten everything set up with my computer and had everything copacetic with that, we had half a panel room already, and I was just going through old videos from the previous year's panels.
Yeah, which is a clever idea. Get to pull some of that old footage out.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a nice thing to go back and go, hey, this is some of the stuff we talked about. Go check it out. If you want to hear us talk about it more, here's our stuff.
Yes.
So, but, I mean, it was a lot of fun. We definitely got to go back into some of the, as I was mentioning to Mav while we were up there, I got to pull out my ace in the sleeve, or at least one of my aces this year with one of the ones that I presented. And like I told everyone there, I'm going to just mention what I said, but not mention the anime, so you guys have got to go watch it if you didn't see it. It'll be up shortly. Our editor is working on it. If you do not shed a tear during that series, you are not human.
Yeah, that'll feels.
Oh yes, but that was one of the aces that I have had up my sleeve for like 2-3 years now, and I'm like, no, this isn't the right year. No, this isn't the right. Wait a minute, this is the year.
Pretty old series, classic series, but yeah, once we get the footage up, you'll probably just be like, oh, just grab your chest real quick if you recognize it.
Oh, the feels.
Right, just grab your chest.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I actually did not get to attend many other panels either. I busy running around, talking to other people and saying hi to friends and hanging out with people. I did, however, one cool thing that they were doing this year was they actually had like live Twitch streams as the convention was going on, and they would bring people in for interviews, and I went in for the Animazement veteran interview, and so yeah, that's actually up on Animazement's Twitch channel, so I mean, you can go check that out as well. I heard cosplay chess was amazing this year.
Yeah, because I think this was like the 10th anniversary of cosplay chess or something like that.
It was. I remember being in the first one.
Yeah, see, I didn't even get in there on that one. I know that was Sunday morning this year, and the line on that was ridiculous.
Yes, they always have a huge line.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only things that have lines to rival that are possibly the concerts and the cosplay contest itself.
Yeah, the cosplay contest, which I unfortunately didn't make it to it. But I hear there's some really good costumes there this year. There were a lot of great costumes, even if they weren't in competition. There are a lot of great costumes.
Oh yeah, they like I've noticed even for the ones that don't enter the cosplay contest, there are a lot of people out there. Like, they had some amazing costumes just walking around, just, doing whatever. The bar just keeps getting raised every year. I know that you had headed out by the time... I'm pretty sure you headed out. Sunday at 3 was the Pokemon photo shoot.
Hmm.
And we actually took up, I'm wanting to say, half of that staircase on the outside of the RCC.
I believe it. So much Pokemon stuff running around all weekend long.
It was insane, and there were some amazing costumes out there as well. So yeah. I mean, it was always, it's always a blast. I'm always going to have a soft spot for Animazement. I'm going to keep going to Animazement for as long as I can, because that's my home con,
That's home con.
That was my first con. You always remember your first. I always have to, give it up to Animazement and, just be like, all right, going this year as well. So, trying to think what else.
It's an awesome con, awesome people, awesome dealer room, awesome panels. Oh gosh,
the dealer room. Oh my god, the dealer room had so much awesome stuff. I had to keep myself from going in there for most of the weekend because I was like, no, I don't have the money to spend.
Yeah, same here. We're very picky with our funds, but it was like you're gonna shop. But
oh yeah, you're gonna shop. That's something that you do. I know I did play and check out some stuff there, and you know, Artist Alley also just keeps getting better and better.
I was very much impressed with Artist Alley. That's actually where we spent my wife and I. That's where we spent most of our money. Was probably at Artist Alley. Like maybe between the two of us, we might have spent $170, $180, and probably about 130, 140 of that was in Artist Alley. We spent most of our money in Artist Alley.
Yeah, Saya was just mentioning in a comment to me, talking about how for those of you who do go to cons, and for those of you who might go to Animazement in particular, don't be afraid to get grab bags, because there is some amazing stuff in there. One of the things that she got in one of the grab bags was actually a limited edition. It was like a mini sort of CD that was actually on a keychain, had Mokonut on it, from Magic Knight Rare, that had like 4 tracks. But I can't find any information on it. Like, that's how rare it is. Any of the places that do have info, they're like, we don't know what the price is on it. So you may find buried treasure somewhere in one of those grab bags. You know, you just never know. She makes a tradition to get like 2 grab bags, usually, like one from one place that she really likes, one from another place that she really likes, and you know, see what she gets in there. And she got some good stuff. Like, she got T-shirts, figurine, that mini CD thing, a couple of other like just random odds and ends. But yeah, like, I've noticed, especially at Animazement's dealer room, like their grab bags are actually pretty sweet deals. I know their manga, like the one place that they had that was like dedicated to selling manga, had great deals on it throughout the weekend as well. But yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to say. I mean, we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Our Saturday panel was crazy. It was like, I am still like, even though I have been up there and had that amount of people up there for 5 years now, it still shocks me every time I see it. Like, just to look out and to see a sea of people.
Yeah. It's come a long way, because, I mean, well, I think that was the first time you guys did that. I was in the crowd that year. I do remember it was you and
Ryuji.
You two were doing it on your own. Sunday morning, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, we had the hangover hour, and we still had a full room. And I specifically remember you in there because you actually got the mic and started talking while we were talking about Pet Shop of Horrors.
Love that series. I need to go back and rewatch that. I haven't watched it in a while.
Oh my god, that's such an amazing series.
I actually had the VHSs, which disappeared very quickly Saturday during the giveaway. It was like a grab bag giveaway. Yeah, I mean, well, I don't even know. Actually, you know what? I remember it now because somebody come up and they tried to just grab one of them. I'm like, no. Sets. You take them both.
You take the whole set. Trust me on this.
Yeah, and I kept having to stop people. They were trying to take like one video out of the set. I'm like, no. Oh, you committed.
You take the set.
Right? It was a great con. Awesome. Hopefully be there next year and they'll do part 6.
Although I am actually I do actually find it interesting that out of the 5 years that we've been doing it, usually there is someone who knows of, you know, one of the series or whatever that we talk about. There's at least one for every series that we've done that's like, oh yeah, I know that.
Mm-hmm.
You had one, sir. You had one that no one knew about, and for that,
dog, man. But that one's almost a cheat there because there's no other source material on it except for a single 1-hour movie.
Yeah.
But now I got to go back to the drawing
board. Still, I mean, I thought I had some pretty good stuff that I was pulling out, and then it's one of those things of, we get to yours, and it's one of those, who knows this? No hands, and I'm just like
really? Oh. But it did warm my heart a little bit when I mentioned Rosa Versailles, and there was like an older lady up front. She was like, "Oh yeah, I remember watching that as a kid." I was like, "Really?"
It was such a great.
You go, old lady, you go.
that old lady had it going on.
And she knew her stuff, like a lot of the stuff that was being called out. She kept raising her hand, like, "Oh, I know this one. I know that one." So kudos to the old lady there.
Yes, whoever you are out there, if you see this, many kudos to you. You had it going on, and that's what we like seeing on our panels. We love educating, the new crowd and everything. Don't get me wrong, we love doing that. We love going and talking to the new crowd and going, "Hey, you're watching all of this now. Well, don't forget, there's history. Take a look back at some of this other stuff. You may find something that you really like."
And I think that's been the appeal. But I think that's why we get such a good crowd and a good turnout, because we're trying to hang on to the past of anime. I know there are a lot of other panels that do, like, history of Gainax or history of Animago, history of ADV, and they do great jobs on those individual studios. But for just a generic past old anime panel in general, I mean, doing a good job. I mean, the crowd sets up, the crowd speaks, and and we're thankful to the crowd. Thank you, crowd. If you've been to our panels, great. If you've gone to YouTube and watched our panels, thank you. If you've seen us, heard us, spoke with us, interacted with us, watched our content, thank you.
We actually had a guy come up after the panel and have us. One had to sign the shirt, another had to sign the program book.
So the program, right? I was like, it's pretty cool.
And I'm just like, okay, all right, cool.
We're good.
But like I said, we enjoy educating the new, but it warms our heart so much to see people's eyes light up when they see a series that they haven't, that they had seen in the past and hadn't really thought about recently. And it's one of those things of, oh, that one, oh my god, oh my god, that makes me so happy personally to see, because it's one of those things of, we got to reconnect people with something that they loved in the past, and that's just one of those things of, I enjoy this. This is one of the reasons why I do this. Both reactions together are why we do this, I think. But yeah, oh my god, there was one guy in the feedback forum who actually who actually showed up and got front row for our panel, and was just like, you guys put on a great panel. I was so glad to see it this year, because he missed out on it last year apparently. So he made sure to come super early, and he got front row, and he was just like, yes, this panel right here. This.
There you go.
And I'm like, okay, dude, that's dedication, I find that kind of funny.
Good times.
So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to add or talk about.
I think that might be it. Plenty going on there. Good times. Hopefully we'll be back next year. Hopefully,
yes.
AZ 2017, which just to let you know now, May 26th, 27th, 28th next year. That's how it's going to fall. Falls on Memorial Weekend.
Tickets are on sale now.
They are on sale now. Opening price was $45 for pre-registration, but I think that ends like tonight or something like that, or it may have ended already.
I'm looking that up right now. So,
okay. Oh, here it is. It's on the front of the website. $45 pre-registration. Is June 5th, this coming Sunday. So if you want to pre-register for Animazement next year, the 20th anniversary, get that for $45. I think after that it'll shoot up to $55, and then it pretty much stays $55 until about the turn of the year, and then it goes up to regular at the door price. I think.
It goes to 60.
Oh, okay. It just goes to. Okay.
Yeah, it goes to 60, and then like the last couple of weeks of pre-reg, it goes to 65, which is the at the door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Usually the website will have a schedule of how the price increases, but it starts for $45, and it'll slowly increase until it gets up to that at the door price.
Oh yeah, actually, I did want to mention one other thing real quick. Animazement. I don't know how they did this, but they pulled some major strings this year. Pun somewhat on the strings, because they had Toshiyuki Watanabe, who's a composer, who is leading the Space Brothers Symphonic Concert on Sunday. Like their theme this year was space, so they had the Space Brothers Symphonic Concert, and they had that on Sunday. And then they also brought in an astronaut and a PR specialist from the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency.
That's right, yeah.
You know, so they actually had, like, you know, as weird as this sounds, I'm going to put it this way: they actually had a real life astronaut at Animazement. You know. But I don't know. They're pulling power with their guests. With the guests is definitely getting really good. But yeah, for those of you who are interested in going next year, you know, like Jolly Yellow was saying, the special ends on Sunday, so be sure to jump on that if you want to get that. You know, we're going to be putting in for a panel again, because why not? You know, we just really enjoy doing this. All right, and apparently Jolly Yellow's PC just rebooted, so I'm going to be talking for a little bit. He'll be back in just a second. But no, as far as guests go, like I said, their drawing power just seems to keep getting better and better. They had some of the old standbys, such as Keiko Han was there, Trish Ledoux, who I actually met last year. She is an awesome, awesome lady. Yeah, they had, I'm trying to remember who else they had as far as like some of the returning guests, but you know, after a while, personally, after a while, some of it starts running together. But no, they had an amazing lineup of guests. They had really good panels this year. Like I said, the only real sort of drawback, I guess, or malice that anyone really had towards, you know, Animazement as a whole this year was the fact that some of the panel rooms were much too small. Which, I mean, that's, yeah, that is kind of a gripe, because it's one of those things, if you want to try and get into a panel room and then you come to find out that you can't because of whatever reason. Yeah, I understand that gets really, really hectic and really hinky and weird, and it's, you know, not that great of a not that great of a thing to run into. But other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot of, you know, bad stuff being said on the feedback forum. trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be said or anything like that while I kind of waste some time here. But also to give kind of a refresher, tomorrow we're going to have more of a actual show to discuss more than just Animazement, because through some scheduling conflicts, Mav was able to make it, but he was not feeling entirely 100%, which that's fine. He's going to be joining us tomorrow. We're going to have another stream tomorrow, along with a special guest to discuss some of the more newsworthy things that have gone on. Because both of these people have been wanting to talk about this for a while, and have wanted to go back and forth on this for a while. So it should be interesting to see exactly how this works out with them. As apparently I have to have some of that light on. But anyway, so it should be entertaining, to say the least, as far as how these two, coexist on the show. Anyway, but yeah, Animazement was always a blast. My next convention is more than likely going to be HoshiCon in July. After that, it's going to be DragonCon, and then probably off until IchibanCon. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. It's going to be hectic. Well, not really hectic. I'm going to have an interesting summer. It's actually going to be kind of a lull in most of my con activities, as it normally has been with law school. But you got to do what you got to do. But no, I have always enjoyed Animazement. Like I said, I will always consider it my home con because it was the one that I started with. It holds a special place in my heart. I've grown along with this con, in some ways of speaking. Like I was saying earlier with Jolly Yellow, I remember when we had the con at the Sheraton in Durham, and we had some panel areas that were actually outside under tents. And welcome back, Jolly Yellow. No mic. But as he's cussing this thing out, I can see it on his face. He is not thrilled that he does not have a mic right now. I'm still not hearing anything. You still have no mic. You might want to check the volume settings down in the corner for your Windows. But no, like I said, for those of you that were talking about panel space, when Animazement had almost outgrown the Sheraton, but had not quite done so just yet, we had some panel rooms that were actually outside in tents. So, I understand, panel rooms being small, but at least we're not to that point yet. So, I mean, I'm still not hearing you, man. Okay. I think we're about to watch Jolly Yellow grab some blunt object and start beaning something. But no, it was always, like I said, Animazement always holds a special place in my heart. I enjoy doing I don't really do panels outside of Animazement. As far as like hosting, I might be up there with one, but I'm not gonna, you know, host or co-host a panel outside of Animazement. Really, it's for those of you who don't. There we go. I think I hear something.
Oh, so you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Sure. All right. So I'm not sure what I did to fix that. Don't know what went wrong. But anyway,
don't think about it. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Again.
No, wait. I still hear you. Okay.
Okay. Good.
But yeah, I was just talking about how in the last couple of years of the Sheraton in Durham, they actually had some panel rooms and some other stuff like actually outside under tents in the parking lot of the Sheraton.
The struggle.
So, you know, if some of the worst feedback is the panel rooms are too small, at least we're not to that point, you know. Just saying.
Start having panels in the parking deck and shit.
Well, I mean, then again, in the Sheraton, we actually did make a Katamari.
That's scary.
We took a beach ball, we started taping things to it and rolling it down the hallway. And people would just give us more stuff to tape to it.
That's funny.
Well, okay, take that back. Second year they did it, they started with a beach ball. First year that it was done, we started with a little ball of paper about that big. The Katamari grew to about this.
There you go.
The second year, when they started with a beach ball, it actually grew large enough that we actually had to have like 4 people rolling it down the hallway because it was big enough to actually run people over.
That is awesome.
We actually ran over a Kakashi cosplayer.
Did he get caught up in it?
Unfortunately, no.
Awesome.
But, you know, I mean, granted, we're not allowed to do stuff like that anymore. You know, that was fun, but, I mean, it's still fun in its own way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's cool to have some fun as long as you don't get too crazy, don't get disruptive or destructive and anything like that. So, a good, clean fun at a con is no problem.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's like I was saying, it is still one of my favorites. Also, like I was saying, for those of you who have not actually like run a panel or anything, there's a reason why I don't really advertise like or don't really do panels outside of Animazement. It is stressful. Agree.
Performance anxieties and who knows what else adding up to it. Yeah, if you're the type that doesn't do well in like public speaking and being the center of attention, it can get to you.
I've only done a few panels outside of the anime you may have missed and other OI stuff, and with those, I'm usually not the main presenter. I'm either up there or I'm kind of backing someone up. Like one year at NecoCon, one of my friends actually came up to me, and she was like, "Hey, I need your help. My co-host pulled out at the last minute. Can I get you to help me with my panel?" And it was like the horror anime games and Japanese movies and all that. It was called Oh the Horror or whatever. And because of, you know me. You know that I'm a huge horror buff. You know that, I was like, okay, I'll step in. And we made it work. But I'm okay with public speaking. That's one thing that I'm okay with. For those that aren't, it's definitely a nerve-wracking thing. The thing that gets me, as far as the panels go, is just the, large amount of planning that has to go into it. Because, you know, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that, you know, you viewers out there wouldn't see dealing with our panels. You know, because I have to compile lists of everything, you know. I mean, granted, a lot, you know, they come up with what they want to talk about. You know, but I'm always kind of a fallback, like Jolly Yellow was saying to me this year. He's like, hey, if I don't get 4, you know, can I look through your little book?
Yeah, Beach is kind of the front man.
So, you know, I'm compiling that. I'm doing, like, you know, I'm cutting up the video clips. I'm compiling that into the playlist. I'm getting everything set up. And even without that, just talking with panel staff for the convention gets kind of hectic too. You know, because it's one of those things of, you know, you put in for it, you have to describe your panel in this short little blurb, and they, you know, talk to you, and then they try to figure out where it goes and where you're going to be and all this. And, you know, running a panel is hectic. It's no walk in the park, you know. But I mean, for those that want, I'm not trying to discourage anyone who wants to give it a shot. I'm just saying, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be put into it that you can't just do, you know, the night before.
A lot there, a lot there.
But yeah, it as much as I just complain that it's a lot of work, it's still very rewarding. You know,
It is.
Like, you get to meet new people, you get to share something that you're passionate about, you get to see the looks on their faces of, like, you know, oh, I did not know that. You know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, what else can we say? Animazement.
Yeah. Good, clean fun. Raleigh, North Carolina. Come out if you think you can make that trip. Yeah. Definitely it's a nice convention. It's not massive, and you know, we're not seeing like Comic-Con numbers where there's like 50,000 people running around all weekend. It's still a decent size where you can get things done.
Yeah, it's nowhere near Dragon Con. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think they pull like, what, 20, 25,000 on the regular at Dragon Con or something like that. Don't they get like some crazy numbers?
There's probably 25,000 booked at one hotel.
Well, there you go.
They get anywhere from 80 to 100,000 people.
See, I can't. I don't know. My wife is talking about she wants to go to Dragon Con one day. I'm like, I don't know.
You have to experience it at least once.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. We'll wait until we're old and retired.
Yeah, you got to do it at least once, though. It is definitely something to you know, that should be on the bucket list. But yeah, like I said earlier, guys, we're doing something a little bit different because tonight, Jolly-O and I, we want to talk about Animazement because it is, you know, our usual Friday show, and it's a week out. We didn't want to postpone it any longer than normal. You know, we wanted to go ahead and talk about this and get that out there. But tomorrow night, we're going to be doing a show as well and actually have Maverick and a special guest on to discuss some of the more newsworthy things that have been going on recently. And it should be entertaining, to say the least.
I'm sure it will be.
Oh, yeah. I might have to, you know, get a rolled-up newspaper at some point.
Squirt bottle.
Just squirt bottle in one hand, rolled up newspaper in the other. Just
there you go. Hold them down.
But now, for those of you who made it to Animazement, we had a blast. We hope that we ran into you. If not, sorry we didn't. You know, it's a huge place. If you didn't make it out to Animazement this year, you know, we're gonna be out there next year, so try your best to make it out next year if you can. Like I said, we're going to be, you know, putting in for our 6th year of our panel there. You know, so apparently the formula is right. We're doing something right, you know.
Yep.
But thank you guys for tuning in, and
Thank you.
I will see you tomorrow night. Jolly Yellow will be in our next show probably in about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah. Yep, be back in about 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's still something left after tomorrow night.
I will make sure the things don't get destroyed.
Make sure there is some show to return to in 2 weeks.
I'm gonna leave it as nice as I found it.
There we
hopefully.
go. No promises.
No promises. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you get a chance, please be sure to tune in tomorrow night at, I think we're going to do 8 o'clock. I think that's what everyone was talking about.
It's 8 o'clock Eastern time, just so you know.
Yes, thank you. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, my time zone timing is screwed up now because of the way I work. So it's like I always have to specify what time zone I'm in. So
yeah, I need to start doing that. I think I automatically do it in my head, and it just doesn't come out. So let's see, that's 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Standard, or 7 Central, 6 Mountain, and 5 Pacific, 4 Alaskan. Let's see, Hawaii should be like 3:30, or is it 3:30? Might be 2:30.
Hawaii, I think.
I'm wanting to. It might be because I know like Hawaii has like a half-hour thing somewhere or something like that.
Oh, well, okay, it might be 2:30 then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and in parts of Indiana and Arizona, it might be an hour later than what I just said. So in parts of Indiana, it may be 8 p.m. In parts of Arizona, it may be 6 p.m.
Because time zone lines actually split some of the states.
No, it's not. It's not even that. It's the fact that some of them don't even recognize daylight savings.
Oh.
Yeah. So, you know, they abolished daylight savings. They're like, screw you.
Fuck the police, I guess. I mean, fuck the police.
Fuck you. Fuck your system. Fuck your police. Fuck your time zone. Fuck your clocks.
Right.
And fuck your crops.
Damn. That's some real veteran right there, man. We don't care where the sun is right now. We said it's this time right now.
Woo! But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I will personally see you tomorrow. And hopefully you guys get to come back and watch the fireworks tomorrow because it should be good. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching. And be sure to check our next show. If you're not interested in tomorrow nights, we'll have one about 2 weeks from tonight. So be sure to go ahead and mark that down on the calendar. That should be the 17th. So, you know, going ahead and throwing that out there, being proactive for once. But anyway, thank you guys. We had a blast tonight, as we had a blast at Animazement, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Good night.